Well, actually, my laptop is replaced with a new one. So it is prompt for restarts now and then. Okay. So I'll be like, restarting and then connecting back, something like that.
No worries, no worries. Absolutely fair, fine. Let me message Padmashri once. He has not seen after yesterday night. Okay, let's begin then. Okay, the sloka now is 351. Tato vikaraha. So now he gives what is intellect equals maya. Tataha vikaraha prakriti aham mukha deha avasanah vishayah cha sarve kshane anyatha bhavitaya hi amisham asatvam atma tu kadapi na anyatha. So what it really means to look at the intellect. Intellect has information, and as the information comes, so it gets decayed and a new information is going to come, which is part of prakriti. Tataha vikaraha prakritehe aham mukha. Mukha is the face. So the face of anything is intellect and ego. Deha avasanaha vishayaha cha sarve, down to the gross body and including all the sense object. Kshane anyatha bhavitaya hi amisham, which every moment becomes something else. That is, it is always going to change. Asatvam atma tu kadapi na anyatha. The unreality is in contrast. If we see the Atman or self, at no time is anything else. It is the same. So what it really means is that no matter how many people we see, how many living beings we see, including plants, all are being nourished by the same consciousness. It doesn't differentiate between somebody is worth it or somebody is not worth it. When the time comes for it to move away, it moves away. So when does it move away? It moves away in every sense, in every senses. So the practice one needs to do is to see when he is turning his head on the left hand side or the right hand side, what happens to the objects. Those objects will drop off. What happens to the sound through the ear? As the new sound comes, the old sound is gone. What happens to the tongue when the new taste comes? The old taste is gone and the new taste is there. Like that, if somebody sees, he can very well watch that the consciousness keeps on staying the same, whereas the vastu or the vishaya keeps on changing. So accordingly, the intellect also changes. So if the buddhi is changing, that means ahankara is also changing. If ahankara and buddhi is changing, so also is manas. If these three are changing, they are changing because of chitta. So whatever connects it will give an opinion that this is so and so person, but when you turn the other side, that person is gone. As an example, if somebody is engrossed on the TV and if somebody has come to the home and he has also gone out of home, nobody will even know it that somebody had come and somebody is gone, because they are engrossed. So it happens when somebody is watching cricket match or some serial or football or Olympics or something. So when we are engrossed, when the mind is engrossed in something, the remaining things are automatically removed. So one can see these changes, that is vikara. Whereas the consciousness, that Atman, has no vikara, because it is same in everyone. So if everybody's mind is engrossed, the remaining items are removed. And that engrossed state is the state of consciousness to the mind. Meaning the consciousness is able to make the mind stay in that engrossed state. And when the mind moves to some other object, it removes that object which it was engrossed. So now the mind cannot make out what was earlier. So we can call it as yesterday, or few minutes ago, or few seconds ago, or few hours ago. Accordingly, a person believes that right now I am existing and I will be existing in the near future. So tomorrow, day after tomorrow, like that. Because that is the vikara. Mind has to move, whereas consciousness doesn't have to move anywhere. It is there everywhere. So if somebody says, I will do it tomorrow, it doesn't mean only that person is going to do something tomorrow. Everybody believes that there is going to be tomorrow and they are going to do everything possible tomorrow. So we understand when somebody says that there is tomorrow, because we know there is tomorrow in our mind. So just like the iron borrows the characteristic of the fire, like what we saw yesterday, the intellect borrows its characteristics of knower and the known from the consciousness. And because that buddhi is part of prakriti, all the prakriti things, right from the hair to the tip of our feet or the toes, all its effect, cause and effect, is known in this manifested universe. So it borrows their characteristics of existence from this self alone. So what it means is that we learn something because somebody has already learnt it. So he creates a book saying that I have learnt it, and that becomes part of the curriculum. So then you learn it, you practice it, then the you comes into existence, you become proficient. So the proficiency comes into existence because of that self, and that ego will start because the mind feels that it knows. I am the knower. Of what? Of the known. Whatever has to be known. So can be called as various subject, so that is known. So I am the knower and I am the known. So both happens. And when it happens, that means when I do from kindergarten to PhD, I know I am doing it. I know I am existing. I know I existed yesterday. I know I am going to exist tomorrow. And I also know that I am existing now. And I also know that I have done my kindergarten. I have also known that I have done my PhD. I also know that I have a family. I also know that I'm working in so and so place and so organization and all that. But the foolish mind doesn't know that by the night all that I know is removed. But still it believes that, oh, anyway, when I wake up, everything is back to normal. So yesterday went away and today I'm back to normal. So this is the Maya. So like a magician, the consciousness brings back all the experiences of yesterday so that there is continuity. So then I can say yesterday we did this, today we are doing this and tomorrow we will be doing that. And first person, second person, third person, all that will come into the mind, even though it is just a language, but it gets created. So the unreality which is there becomes real. So now we are in, like what Patanjali calls as viparyaya. It's in a hallucination world. All the time we are hallucinating between the office and home and children and location, like Bangalore or this country or that country. This is good, that is good, this is bad, that is bad. I gained this one, I lost that one, and all of that keeps on happening in the hallucination. And for hallucination to work, you require certain metrics. So we have the metrics. Something existed and now today is not existing, or something is existing and today also it is existing and tomorrow also it will exist. So like that we keep on making the impressions, and for that to work is Prakriti, which is Maya. So Purusha having Prakriti means the Prakriti is part of the Maya. It seems to be real, but nothing of that is real. Just like I keep on searching for a wife when there cannot be one. It's like going on to a desert and finding water. There is a mirage, and then I keep on running behind it. It keeps on going away. But when I go back running against it, the lake seems to be, or the water body seems to be following me. In the same way, all relationships, whatever has been created, whether it is office or family, the more we go towards it, they keep on running away because they never existed in the first place. But the more we start going away from it, they start coming behind us. So that is how Maya works. So the consciousness is never seen. It just stays aloof. The Purusha is never seen. Only the Prakriti is seen. So the Prakriti can only be seen through intellect, which is the Buddhi. And for Buddhi to operate, Aham has to be there. That is ego. And for the Aham and Buddhi to operate, it should have Manas. It's the container. So the Manas contains Buddhi and Ahankara. And for that there should be electrical impulses, which is Chitta. So Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. These four form what I call as myself. So whenever I use the word myself, either I am mentioning it as Manas, sometimes I am mentioning it as Buddhi, sometimes I am mentioning it as ego, Ahankara, sometimes I say it is my Chitta, which all means the same. It's just a container lighting up with something or the other. And the senses, whatever is coming up, is caught up, meaning an object is seen and the object is perceived in the intellect as wife or husband or son or daughter or home or profession or this or that. Immediately the consciousness makes that experience possible. Just like the iron and that fire. So since iron is liquid now, it is burning like even though it has become fluid, but it is burning. It has all the properties of the fire. In the same way, when I look at somebody and say that it is my wife, Ahankara is saying my, Buddhi is saying yours, Chitta is saying yes, this is what it is. So the experience is made possible, and the Manas container contains value called as wife, which is highly valuable substance. Similarly with father and mother and brother and sister and husband and office and all that. Now, how does Maya work? Maya works by Prakriti. That means you believe that there is a nature which is separated out, because that is what can be seen now. So when I see the solid item which has come and stood in front of me, which is made out of Prithvi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Akasha, 5 elements, I take it to be my wife. So there are 2 things which are happening. One is my and one is wife. So it is very dear now. So when it becomes very dear, the consciousness makes that experience possible to that intellect. So the Aham now says that here is the wife which I have put it in the Manas. So now she will go wherever I am going. Now I cannot take the body along. So when I go to the office, because now I am going to office, so the mind is now entering office. So the wife is dropped, because now the mind is engrossed in something else, like in the office work with meetings and discussions. And at that point in time, no wife, no husband, no house, no furniture, nothing comes, including the car which has got parked in the basement of the office, or whatever vehicle or however we have reached the office. Nothing of that comes, as long as it is engrossed. And then a call comes, and when the call comes, immediately that engrossed meeting is gone. In its place, the Prakriti of wife or husband or whoever, mother, father, brother, sister, whatever, that is seen. Immediately the mind now moves from the office work to this phone call. So one can see how this movement is happening, whereas the consciousness never moves. It is just there all the time. So unreal moves, real does not move. So when I want to practice this with awareness meditation, if I were to move from one room to another room, the room is moving, but the consciousness is not. How is the room moving? The room is moving because the body is moving. The body is moved by the mind, and since it is moving through the mind, the consciousness makes that movement possible. So again, remember the iron ball and that flame. The flame is the Atman, iron ball is the Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. So now when there is movement from one room to another room, from one place to another place, if I recognize this is my living room and this is my bedroom and this is my kitchen, this is my so and so, while no real bedroom or living room or kitchen or whatever existed, the consciousness is able to make that experience possible. So every one of us is going to experience kitchen, because we know what is a kitchen. The concept is known. So it is a conceptual reality, what is coming. But the consciousness never experiences kitchen. It just makes the experience possible. It never walks. It makes the walking possible. It never sits. It makes the sitting possible. It never stands. It makes the standing possible. Because all of that sitting, standing, eating, doing whatever doing, the doership is Maya. Any questions on this very important one? What is intellect and what is Maya? All okay?
Intellect is also Maya, right?
Intellect itself is Maya. All the four are Maya. Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, all are Maya only.
Yeah, see, we have all the impressions and also vasana along with us, carrying. And when we give attention, or sometimes when I don't give attention also, automatically that it comes to memory. And based on that memory, again we do some karma. For example, if I see a person, I may react violently because that person is not in line with my expectation. I know that that person is not good person. So it is based on my impression what I have carried. But actually that person may be very good now. Maybe I am seeing him after 2 years or something like that. So during this time, everything is Maya here. That person is Maya. My memory is Maya. My action is also Maya. What I am expected to do during this time? Because in the transaction world, I am expected to take some decision based on what I have experienced with him so far.
Yes, so what you need to do is, like in the office, let's say we are talking about office, so we'll take two things. One is home and one is office. Okay, so first we will take office. Office has certain rules, regulations, and policies, and process, and standards, guidelines, etc., etc. So just follow that. There is no person, and that person himself is a process because he has agreed for that role. Let us say I have agreed for some role, knowing very well that I might or might not be able to fulfill everything in that role, but I have agreed to it. So the situations create a positive environment or a negative environment. So my skill set, that is from my kindergarten to the PhD, whatever I have learned or whatever has been given to me as knowledge is dependent on the situation. If I could remember how to implement it in that situation, I become a good employee. If I am not able to implement it at that situation, then I become a bad employee. Who became that is the role. So I am not fitting into the role, or I am fitting extremely well in that role. These are the two things. So if you are my supervisor, what you can do is you can evaluate my role and give me feedback saying that, Vilas, in this role you have done like this, in this role you are not able to do like this. So we would like to take certain actions. They are taking actions against the role, or you are taking action against the role, not to me. Okay. In the whole, this your explanation about office, role, and then policies and action, etc. What is real here and what is unreal? All are unreal. Role is real. All are unreal. So nothing is real out there. Why it is not real? Why it is not real? Because policies changes, right? Everything changes here. Yes. Anything except witnessing. Anything that changes is unreal. The process changes, the policy changes, the standard changes, the product changes, practices changes, company location changes, business changes, everything changes. There's nothing in an organization which will not change. So the experience, so-called experience, is also unreal. 100% unreal. Now, you've been pushed to that, so you just play the role, that's all. That's the best you can do. So this Maya is governed by our karma. Yes, Maya is governed by two things. One, it is itself Prakriti, and Prakriti is governed by karma.
Okay, and every time when we do some karma here, it gives some result, positive or negative.
Correct.
That based on
Based on
my karma, right? That is based on my karma or everybody's karma.
no.
For me, it is my karma.
No, the moment you take ownership, it becomes your karma. The moment you take the ownership of the role of a father and you believe that you are the father, then all karma becomes yours.
Which means that action comes to me, I should not think that I am the owner of that. I should think, right?
No, you shouldn't think.
I have to run a project successfully. So the role, what I'm playing.
Yes, you play the role. But it is not your role, right? There can be, if you leave, somebody else will take your role, right?
The role is there as a project manager.
Right.
And it can be anybody project manager there.
Right.
And if I play that role, if I get that position, then automatically I will be playing that role,
yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
If I am playing that role, without mind that ownership, you cannot drive it.
Why?
You need to have the ownership.
No, the moment you have an ownership, that means the intellect will create the Maya effect.
But without ownership, you cannot drive also.
Why? In fact, you can drive it much better because you are seeing it from a third party perspective. You are not attached to it. You will do what is to be done.
The soft skill number one is that you take the ownership.
Correct.
You should have the pride in that.
No, both are against liberation. Simple. You are in bondage. So the MI is
the office MIs wherever they do. I was thinking so far, whatever they do, it is purely in terms of what do you call spirituality. It is not whatever if they define something, it's purely spiritual, right? Or it is satya.
No, it is not.
If something is not in spiritual, then people can challenge in the court. The court will give the decision based on the rule of that land.
Wait for a second. I'll give you a very practical example. Okay. So, 1999, the company where I joined in 2006, 1999, they created one beautiful product in ERP, which was for discrete manufacturing. And like that, there was no product, even SAP didn't have it. So that company did very well from 1999 till 2005. 2005, they could not sustain the market. So they sold the company to a new owner. Okay. Now, in that company, they had developed everyone to be a owner. You own the product, you own the services, you own the technology, and you have pride in that ownership. And all the employees were doing that. So from 1999 to 2005, this company came into existence in 85, but became very profitable across US and Canada in 1999. So for 6 years, everyone reaped their ownership. If it was true, why it was sold then? This is first question. Okay. Now what happened to the ownership? It's gone. Now this new company, new owner which took that company, continued on that stream, and they kept on buying companies knowing very well that it is not going to sustain. So from the time of 2006 to 2013, they bought so many companies, and for each product line they made ownership, that you own it, right? Now when you own it, you're going to suffer along with that, because it's your product, your technology, your services, and it becomes you, which is Maya. Now you can work without ownership, meaning if they say that you are a owner of this product or the service or technology or this whatever it is, it's fine, that's a title, it's not real. The moment I take it real, let's say I had taken it real, Okay, so when they sold the company, again, why did they sell it if there was such an ownership? And we all were owning it. It's not that only one person was owning it. In fact, I was owning so many product lines, and I was very much proud about delivering from India. So what happened to that? So can this be considered as truth? Because the company is measured from the CAGR or EBITDA or whatever it is. So as long as that market, market potential is there, the company exists. When the market potential is not there, they sell the company. What do you have to say for that? Where is the ownership then? Yeah, but you can answer. Now, why did they sell? If they all were owners, right?
See, ownership is you will keep yourself based on the profitability. If it is profitable or it's in line with your thinking, the growth, you will keep it.
Otherwise,
or if you have something other better opportunity,
absolutely,
you may sell. Or it's making loss, you may sell. Ownership now transferred to somebody else. After that, it's a risk transfer.
Fine. So that means anything that changes, how can that be reality then? That's a fundamental question we need to ask. Relationship changes, object changes, experiences changes, everything changes there. There's no ownership actually. It's a word. You cannot really become a owner of anything.
It is like this. I am having one car now. I in my my status, mental status, I am owning it. Even though I have a loan, because ownership is with me. But if I sell that car to another person, then it is going away from that ownership in my mind also.
Correct.
This is something, the ownership is there and it is now transferred. Yeah, it's from our angle, it is unreal. But with respect to the law, it is real. That means law is not spiritual, as per you.
Not as per me. Anything that changes, this shloka especially tells you what is...
The law is not... Yeah, correct. I'm just trying to say that. So, if law is not spiritual in nature, anything you do in any country, because that's something boundary. Law is always boundary. You have to operate within that. Outside means
correct.
You will be... Yeah. So, anything has got boundary means it is not spiritual. So whatever we do here, other than this, say, meditation for the purpose of spirituality, is unreal and it is waste.
No, it is not like that. It creates
only karma, again and again and again. Yes. Either you work or you take care of your family, anything. There is nothing called in this. If you are dealing with something, the dealing itself is unreal.
Yes.
It's a time bound.
Yes. So what you can...
So it is good if you don't do that. Because why you have to do unreal? It is a waste. Instead, completely focus on only one goal, that is spirituality.
No, you be on real.
We have been discussing so far. Don't attach to that role, then you are spiritual.
Correct.
Then why that is needed for me? See, I am doing a role and then don't attach. That's all complicated things. Don't do anything.
But this is
except spiritual.
No. There's the spiritual, whatever we call spiritual. Like I said, but I again go back to that thing. Number one, you be like Rama, who got understood at age of 16, and he had a family, did everything what is required, and did not get attached. So this is one route.
Yeah, my question here.
Yes.
Why that was required even for Rama when it is unreal? The whole world is unreal.
Because he was born. The problem here is that now you should cut that route, which is birth. If you are born, you have to do this. There is no other way.
No, that the so-called dharma yuddha was not required. You had a lot of other better way to do it. Same thing.
Absolutely agreed. But now the problem with mind is it will try to justify or it will try to penalize. It's only two things that can be done out of a mind. Now, from the stories what we have read, whether it's Ramayana or Mahabharata or Bhagavad Gita or this or that or whatever it is what is written there. It can't be, we have not met Rama to ask him, why did you do like this? We have not met Vasistha to ask him that, why did you preach him like that? Okay, so now we have to go by what is written. Now, if you are born, you have to go through all of this. So either you make the unreal real or leave the unreal, be in the real.
Yeah, see, we cannot make unreal into real. That is not possible because of nature. Real is real, unreal is unreal.
No, then in
Another thing is, Ramayana Mahabharata is injected to us. Don't do anything now. Why you have to study Ramayana at all or Mahabharata?
No, that is where. So now you are saying, and unreal can never be created, but why to do that also? No, that is not right, because now it's like asking, how did I create vasana? I want to know.
And that is from Purva Jarma. See, that from this teaching it is clear. What has come vasana,
So-
now you have to, that vasana you have to completely remove.
Now,
For that removing the vasana, doing this Ramayana Mahabharata Dharma Yuddha is not a solution.
I got it. So now what Mahavira did in that case, he did what you are saying. I will not do anything. He kept on pulling his hairs, because that is how karma will get exhausted.
No, that is also an action, what he has done.
Now there is nothing you can do being born without action, because you have to eat, you have to have a place to stay, you should have some medicines, and you should have some clothing. These
See,
four.
all this what you explained is unreal.
That is correct, but still you need to have. Now the question comes. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because the only answer can be given is because you are born. Now you have to solve the problem of birth.
Yeah, that is well explained. It's prarabdha. I am born is prarabdha.
Yes. So
But
when you are
after that, I have free will. I have a choice whether I should do it or I should not do it. If I use the choice of doing something, then naturally the ownership comes and you are doing a lot of karma.
correct.
Okay, and without any ownership, if you have to do that's a wrong thing actually. There is nothing called you have to do with the moment you say no ownership, why you have to do? Nothing is required to do.
Now that
Prarabdha is only for body. Once that is over, it will die on its own.
yes, that is correct. So now the problem here is, so let's address the problem first. Maya is this. What you want to do with that is your way of doing it. This is what is Maya. Okay, or Maya or Prakriti or whatever you want to call, or you want to call world, or you want to call this as experience or whatever. This is what it is all about. So what Shankara says is that drop the intellect. Now the question comes, how will I drop the intellect? Now there is no answer to that, because he can only give the tool. Okay, here it is. This is what the meaning.
Yeah. No, his tool is perfect tool. What it says, you make like a transparent, completely transparent, so that your unreal is gone away.
Correct. But
If the
still,
light falls on that, it will just come out
Correct.
from other side.
Still,
That
but-
means that
but-
it's so clear mind.
yes, but still you need to continue the prarabdha. By saying that I will not do anything is not an answer. And this is the same question what Arjuna asked Krishna. Now when you are saying all of this to me, I get an opinion that whatever I am doing is Bhranti.
Correct.
Okay, so when you are saying that whatever we are doing Bhranti, and there is no person at all, and there is no father, and there is no uncle, there is no brother, and all that, then why should I even do this?
Yes.
So then we have to go back to Bhagavad Gita. That's all.
Yeah, it said dharma, you do it.
Everything is
It is
dharma.
your
Is the
duty
only...
to do. See, the teaching is it is your duty to do it.
Exactly. Now your duty is to
But
do.
my question is, this is unreal as per our spirituality definition. If it is unreal, why I should do it?
This then you again have to answer what Krishna answered. He said you are doing it because of dharma.
Ah,
You do it.
because dharma demands that. Now the question, same question I asked. Dharma is it real or unreal?
The Laukika dharma is unreal. What is your dharma? What is your swadharma? What is your swadharma?
That is my doubt.
What the swadharma?
I was thinking my dharma is follow the rule of land. That is dharma.
No, that is the dharma of the
Or
lok.
other thing is swabhava.
That is again part of Lokiya. See, this chapter, whatever...
I am not able to differentiate between that and this now. That is my doubt here.
Okay. The Lokiya means what? What will help you in the outside world. So there are some rules and regulations. So you follow the rules and regulation of the land, simple, or of the office, or at home. That's all.
So I should accept that is unreal, but I should follow.
Yes, because that is the rule created in the world, right? Now you can't, then the other option, like some days back or some months back we discussed, then you have to commit suicide only. What else can you do now?
No, that is also unreal. No?
Now both are unreal, right? Now what to do now? Now you can't kill yourself, nor you can follow. Then it becomes something idiotic. So there are rule number one.
I have found like this answer. All these yogis, before realization, they have put so much of effort. What I heard, effort is required in the direction of spirituality. That is nothing but maybe away from all this and doing completely, spending time within yourself. That's called meditation.
Correct. Do it.
So that is a swadharma. And that's what you should do it, meditation. Maybe in Arjuna case, it may be fighting a war, swadharma. I don't know, because of his varna based, kshatriya dharma is that.
But
it is not recommended for Brahmin that time.
No, but one second, let me stop you here. Some days ago, the 5 types we discussed.
Yeah.
The same problem came at that time also. So there are 5 kinds you can do. Number 1, do the grihastha and get liberated, like in the example Rama. Number 2, go by the role play based system. You play your dharma of that role. So your dharma is a grihastha, play that role. You are working in an organization, play that role and get liberated. That is not possible. Go by the bhakti marga, where you can go by the one deity and become a complete surrender, the self-surrender to that being or to that supreme or whatever it is, and get liberated. 4th one is the marga of the yoga, like in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Do that and get liberated. Here you need to become a monastic, meaning you have to give up your grihastha, or rather working on anything and just be a bhiksha. So
okay.
Become a
This Vivekachudamani is
monastic.
using this birth. Yeah, correct.
Monastic. It's for
Yeah, not grihastha.
monastic.
So for Chaturvarnya, there is separate. This one for Kshatriya, he has to fight and he has to do that. That is
Not only
dharma.
Kshatriya.
For Brahmana, it is knowledge based.
Yes.
And for Shudra, maybe for based on his service. And
Vaishya by
is
business.
based on this Vaishya is based on his business. That means dharma is he cannot earn so much. There is always some percentage he can gain.
No, it's not like that.
sustenance.
No, it's not like that. You do your or you call it as responsibility, you call it by ownership, you call by whatever better name that can be used. If you are going by varnashrama approach, you are
Yes.
Brahmana, you are not supposed to earn for a living, you are supposed to give the jnana and somebody will feed you. Simple. Clear? Now,
Yeah, so now this is dharma based life. if you have a
All
dharma
are
based life,
dharma. No,
then automatically
no, but
you will gain moksha. It is possible.
no,
But that dharma is Chaturvarnya based. Dharma is explained in Bhagavad Gita.
no, not like that. All the 5 of them are dharma only. Whether you go by grihastha, or you go by role based, or you go by bhakti, or you go by yoga, or you go by Vedanta, dharma is no different.
Yeah. So inaction is not the solution. You have to take some action. If it is the grahastha, you cannot run away, become sannyasi, and keep others into problem. You have to be there and middle of the family. You have to manage everything and attain moksha. For grahastha, moksha is that. But that's the reason I think it is specified. Try to take as soon as possible your what you call grahasthashrama. After that, what is that? Vanaprastha. As soon as possible. Hand over and just come out. Isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. So at 50, we are supposed to do that.
Okay, I got it. So, even though it is unreal, for moksha, that is the only marga.
No, it's not like that. It's only marga. There are 5 margas for every individual. You have to choose based upon what is the state of your mind. If your mind relishes on the grihastha then you follow like what Rama did. If your mind is like role-based system, then you follow what Bhagavad Gita talks about. If your mind is going to be in devotion, then you go by Bhakti Marga. If your mind is an investigative mind, you can choose 2 of the approaches. One is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, another one is Vedanta. Okay, these.
But everywhere I think you have been mentioning, it is not the perfect end. You will stop somewhere. For example, you have used the word, if you follow Bhakti Marga, maybe Advaita, then you are ending with Narayana. But after Narayana, again you have to come back to go above that. That's what I think you have mentioned, if I remember.
No, come back, go back is at that point in time, but see, when there is self-surrender, let's say, as in the case of Dasa Sahitya, if we were to read, right from Jagannatha Dasa to Kanaka Dasa to Purandara Dasa, all the Dasas, if we were to read, or Vijay Dasa, whatever Dasas are there, or in anywhere, like in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or whatever it is, if somebody were to go deeper into it, that individuality is lost. Clear? Now, when the individuality gets lost, the only difference here is that deity, that is Narayana or whoever, Mukunda or whatever you have done, it is up to that being to give you moksha, not yours to get moksha. It is not in the mind of itself to get moksha. So Bhakti Marga has a limitation there, because now, like what Madhvacharya also says, is that, which I shared that detailed document on how it works. So it is up to Narayana to give you the moksha, not your deal now. It is not you who decide. Okay. Now this is what bhakti is all about. But till that time you need to have that. So you need to get into Savikalpa Samadhi. That is when you get the experience of Narayana. Okay. Now we are talking about Nirvikalpa. All that slokas what we are reading now is Nirvikalpa. There is nothing to imagine. If anything is imagined, it is Asatya. Asat. And that is what he says here. Asatvam atma tu kadapi na anyatha. So, if we are in Savikalpa Samadhi through Bhakti Marga, then that God or deity has to give you moksha. Whereas if you come through the Nirvikalpa Marga, which is Vedanta, that to this Uttaramimamsa, what we are talking about, you liberate yourself through Jnana. So now it is that mind's choice, which one to select. So what we are talking today is about Jnana Marga, where you get the Jnana and get liberated. What is real and what is unreal. So the starting portion of what we read about Viveka, Brahman Satya Jagat Mithya, is experienced here in Samadhi right now. But the problem with all of us is that we have not yet reached the Nirvikalpa state. So this confusion is going to be there. If you reach Nirvikalpa, you will not have any confusion or questions or anything, because you exactly know which marga is for you, whether
that is true.
So now
because it will finally teach when you reach there automatically.
Yes. So now the problem here is that, but all the 5 of us are not monastics.
No.
Okay, we are grihasthas, and from a grihastha point of view, we are reading monastic life.
Yes.
Which itself has a flaw. Okay. Now these shlokas are something which he is talking after realization. This is not before realization. That means you realize that there is no you, there is universal you in everyone, right? Now from there we have come to 351st verse, where it talks about what is real and what is unreal. That means to say that there is not even a trace of unreality left. But we are presently fully drowned with Nama and Rupa. That means if I see the office building, I will immediately know that this is an office and this is where I am working. That is the state of my mind. Now, if that is the state of my mind, this shloka doesn't make any sense except for intellectually knowing it, which is fair.
Yeah, correct.
And that is the reason when Padma Shri went for 2 weeks, she went off, and Lata lost her mother. So that's the reason I had asked, can we now practice Viveka, Vairagya, all that? Shamadama, Uparati, Titiksha, Samadhana and all that. Because this problem is going to even more multiply when we go into 383rd verse. We are still in 351. When you come to 383 verse till 474, we are going to have a topsy-turvy of everything. Because he believes that you are now liberated also. And that will be even more worse than what we are facing today. So we need to have Vairagya, Viveka, all that created right now. Then this will become easy. Anything that changes is asatya, is asat. That is the conclusion of this 351. So you need to see from ego to intellect to everything is unreal, because it undergoes changes. Moment to moment there is a change. So to answer to your question, should we not follow the rule of the land? Yes, you need to follow the rule of the land because you are born in that place. That's the only reason you are following, not because you have anything to do with that rules or regulations. You have to follow because of that. Let's say because Corona is there, now the Omicron new variant is there. Should I wear the mask? Yes, you need to wear the mask. Should I have 2 dosage of vaccination? Yes, the body has to be given 2 dosage of vaccination. Should I maintain social distance? Yes, social distancing has to be met. That's all. So there is nothing to say that no, then why asat, then why I should be doing this. Because you are born, because the body is going to get tortured by virus, so we need to do that. In the same way, hunger you need to solve, clothing you need to solve, then you cannot stay without a roof on your head, and you need to have medicines. For that we need to earn a living, so you need to do that. No, I don't want to be a grihastha, I want to become a sannyasi or a monastic life. Okay, choose that and follow what is mentioned in Vivekachudamani. So, but nobody can do nothing, and Krishna tells that in various shlokas, saying that there is not even one person who can say I will not do anything. It's not possible. You have to do something. But what he says is that do it without ownership, because owner here is only consciousness, not you. So just do in Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. That's all. Don't take it as yours. And that is what we say, right? And at the end of everything, we say Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.
That is yes.
So then why are we holding on to it? That why should I do this? Why should I do that? Everything you are doing it to that Krishna or whoever it is, right? You are saying Brahman can be anything. So let's say in Narayana. Okay, give it to Narayana. But still it is Savikalpa Samadhi, but it is better.
Yeah.
Okay, 9:29.
Yeah, sure. We can end today and continue on Monday.
Yeah, Lata, Sri Hari, Padma Shri, anything you have to comment, or shall we end? It became one-sided question and answer session with me.
Nowadays, I'm eating entire time.
No, that is okay.
It's always like that, right? It's always like that. I joined some 20 minutes late, so.
No, it is okay.
Because you asked the question, Vilas, so I thought I should. It was there in my mind immediately, instantly.
No. See, I'll tell you, but one thing. See, the thing is like this. It's good to ask questions. It's good to debate. It's good to do everything. Unless we get it, we need to keep on hitting at it.
Yeah.
So
idea for knowledge only, this discussion,
absolutely.
Not for anything else. Not for fun.
Whether it is Padma Shri asking or you asking or anybody asking, that is good. That also helps me to answer in different ways. Otherwise, it becomes monotonous. I can keep on reading the shloka and giving some examples.
When you read, I feel very sorry because you go with the speed and without proper questions, you feel not comfortable to continue also.
No, that has never been the case. I really love it. See, if somebody interrupts and asks me a question which is totally different, it's good. Yeah. So that tells me whether I myself is struggling or not. So it is good. At least it gives me an opportunity to reflect upon and see that, okay, now how should I answer this? It's good. No, otherwise it becomes it just becomes like a monotonous explanation. So I appreciate anyone or all the three of you asking question or saying that, look, I couldn't understand this. And that is again part of Maya.
Yeah.
So unless we break that Maya, we have to keep on doing it. Okay, have a good day and we meet up on Monday.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you then.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.